I'm going to tell you some of the stories that we hear here at the Rohs Opera House, which has a reputation of being one of the most haunted buildings in all of Central Kentucky. Now, this building was built in 1871, and at that time it was known as Aeolian Hall, and it was actually located on the second and third floors of the current building. And then in the late 1930s, the owner, Mr. Rohs, decided to build the modern theater that we call the new Rohs Opera House. And it's actually two buildings that are kind of squished together. And it opened in February of 1941. And not too long after that, story started going around that this was a very haunted, active building. And it's a classic haunting. There are smells, people see shadow people, objects move, things get misplaced, there are lights you can't explain, footsteps, and it is rich in EVPs. Any group or person who has spent any time here, they will catch an EVP. And what's nice about it is sometimes the EVPs you catch on tape, you actually hear them with your ear when you catch them. And we know 4 ghosts that have been caught, and we have some proof of. We know there's a man, and we know there's 2 small children. And one of the things that the children do that's really neat, especially to women, is they will come up and they will tug on the dress that the woman's wearing or their pantsuit. It's never happened to a man. And there's some debate to whether that's a boy and a girl, 2 girls. And then our most famous ghost has to be the lady in white. And she's been seen by numerous people, and I've actually been fortunate enough to see her twice. And the first time I saw her, I was upstairs in the projection room, and we had a full house, and the balcony was closed at that time. It wasn't open, and nobody was allowed up there. And I started the movie, and I'm getting ready to go out on the balcony to check to see if the sound is okay, and I noticed this woman walk into the balcony. She had brown hair about shoulder length, and it looked like she had a gown on. And I'm thinking, why is she here going into the balcony, and why is she dressed like that? And she was as solid as any person I've ever seen. So I follow her into the balcony, and there's nobody there. Now, there's an exit that goes out, but it was barred from the inside. And if this lady had jumped over the balcony, the full house downstairs, I'm sure would have seen her, and we would have had a commotion. So I start getting goosebumps, and I start thinking, okay, I've seen the ghost. And I run downstairs, and I tell my wife that I think I've seen the lady in white. And I actually got to compare notes with some people that have seen her before, and we described her the same. And the second time I saw her was on November 1st of 2008, and it was in the afternoon. And there had been a party upstairs that night before. They were cleaning up. Actually, it was a haunted house. And they were cleaning up because we were going to have a party that night. And they had cleaned up, took everything out. And I'm downstairs mopping. And I want to go upstairs to give the room one more once over to see if everything's okay. And I'm going up the steps, and there were 2 signs on the wall that I stopped to take down. And when I turned around, there she was. The lady in white was right in front of me. I could have reached out and touched her, but she was going up the steps, so I saw her from the back. And once again, she was as solid as anyone I've ever seen. And I followed her up the steps, but when I turned, I'm like, hey, 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 and she was gone. Well, the steps turned to go upstairs. She was not there again. I ran upstairs. I looked through the room. I looked through the hallway, and the lady in white was not there. And that's just some of the things that happen. Anybody who spends any time in the Rohs Opera House has a story. It's a great place for people to come and try to find ghosts, and just about every time there's an experience. So I invite anybody to come to the Rohs Opera House and check it out for themselves.